Hello, welcome to الكرامة News Service. It is 9 p.m. our time for top stories, and we start with the latest updates from Libya. Spokesman for the General Command of the Armed Forces, Major Mohammed Hijazi, announced that the National Air Force intensified air raids on positions of terrorist groups in parallel with the progress of armed forces on the group. Hijazi added in exclusive statements to الكرامة that the armed forces took control of formerly controlled position controlled by terrorist militia. Hijazi warned all military from talking about any details of due process, threatening that the authorized party only the spokesman for the General Command. About the alleged dialogue, Hijazi noted that the convictions of the armed forces operations against the terrorists have no special meaning, and they are the ones who support terrorism, stressing that the military operations against terrorism will not stop under any name or pressure. Parliament condemned the statement of the United Nations Support Mission in Libya on the process of doom in Benghazi. Parliamentary Committee followed up the emergency of House of Representatives expressed their separate statement issued by the mission of the United Nations for support in Libya in connection with military operations in Benghazi. He stressed that the Parliament supports the armed forces which are fighting against terrorist groups, and this is not in defense of Benghazi only, but in defense of the Libyan state as a whole. The United Nations Support Mission in Libya issued a statement condemning what it called stepped-up military operations against civilians in Benghazi. Parliament member Yunus Fannoush said dialogue with terrorists is a stupid move and support for terrorism. Fannoush said that any dialogue with them is in support of the gangs of terror which were opposed by the armed forces in Benghazi and Derna. The Parliament has announced its refusal to complete the dialogue sessions if Leon ignores the demands of House of Representatives included in the draft signed by initials. Municipal Council of Benghazi condemned the statement of the United Nations mission on the condemnation of the militia escalation in Benghazi. Council statement describes the UN mission without neutral and inconsistent with previous statement to the mission of the United Nations, saying that it is better for the United Nations to issue a statement on the targeting of civilians, journalists and soldiers in the city. The Council expressed in a statement its full support for military operations carried out by Arab armed forces of Libya against terrorist and extremist groups. House Speaker Aguila Saleh Guaider pledged to carry out the demands of the employees of the Ministry of Interior in the interim government. This came during a meeting held in Friendship Theatre in Shahat Town, the first forum of employees of Ministry of Interior. During the meeting, Guaider calls on the elders of Libya and the media to stand with the security men and clarify the general public and the importance of their role. For their part, internal associates issued at conclusions of the formal statement in which they call for Parliament to authorize Minister of Interior according to specific criteria, the disclosure of the Interior Ministry's budget accounts, providing all the capabilities of the security personnel, as well as the selections of the headquarters of the Interior Ministry from fixed assets. And now we transfer to the international arena. At least 5 people were killed when a car bomb exploded close to the presidential palace in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, today. There was no immediate claim of responsibility from the military group Al-Shabaab, which is trying to overthrow President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed's Western-backed government. The group stepped up attacks this month, retaking a town in the central region and attacking African Union troops. A police officer said, so far we know 5 soldiers died and over a dozen were announced and wounded. Added that the attack might have been aimed at a United Nations convoy that left the palace just before the palace resident in the area also said that he had heard a loud blast followed by gunfire. A reporter saw damage to the gate of the compound. 5 burned out cars at the scene. And about Russian embassy and its incident today, Russian Foreign Ministry announced in a statement that its embassy in the Syrian capital of Damascus came under mortar fire exposures without any casualties. The statement accused the Syrian opposition forces of targeting the embassy. The statement also called authorities to take actions against these actions, which it described as terrorist. And now we transfer to another item and about demonstration in Russia. Russian opposition has organized demonstrations in Moscow and the capital's street to demand fair elections. Thousands of oppositions gathered in the street of the Russian capital to demand fair elections. The Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny talked during a rally in Buna about Putin's control of the reins of the state for nearly 15 years. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website www.الكرامة.tv. Thanks for being with us. See you next time. My greeting, رانيا البليدي.